I'm 90 now. That sentence still surprises me when I say it out loud. Most days are quiet, not peaceful quiet, just quiet. The kind that gives your thoughts too much room. People think when you reach this age, you're full of wisdom, like it all arrives neatly, tied together. It doesn't. What you get instead is time. Time to replay things. Time to notice where you were wrong. Time to sit with what you avoided. I want to tell you something simple. Not advice, not a lesson. Just something I learned too late. For most of my life, I thought waiting was safer. Waiting to speak. Waiting to decide. Waiting to be sure. I told myself I was being careful. That I was avoiding mistakes. That clarity would come if I just gave it more time. But waiting has a cost. No one explains that part. I waited to say how I felt because I didn't want to make things awkward. I waited to leave places that were shrinking me because I thought loyalty mattered more than truth. I waited to choose myself because it felt selfish. Years passed quietly like that, not with drama, just with small delays that added up. The strange thing is, misunderstanding grows in silence. Not loud misunderstanding, the quiet kind. The kind where people think they know you, but they only know the version you showed because it was easier. I was misunderstood by people I loved. And sometimes I misunderstood myself. I thought I wanted approval. What I really wanted was peace. I thought I wanted to be needed. What I wanted was to be seen. But I didn't have the words for that back then. Or maybe I did, and I was scared of what would happen if I used them. At 90, you realize most regrets aren't about what you did wrong. They're about what you never clarified, never asked, never said out loud. There were conversations I kept rehearsing in my head for years. They never happened, and now they never will. That's a hard thing to accept. Not tragic, just heavy. I don't feel angry about it anymore, just aware. Awareness comes late. That's one of life's quiet jokes. I'm not telling you this to rush you or to scare you, only to name something I wish someone had named for me. Waiting feels harmless, but sometimes it's how life passes without you noticing. I'll stop here for a moment. There's more I want to say, but it deserves its own breath. There's another thing no one tells you about waiting. It doesn't feel like a choice while you're doing it. It feels like patience, or maturity, or being the bigger person. So, you keep going. You tell yourself, next year, or after things settle, or when I understand this better. But life doesn't pause with you. It keeps moving quietly without asking. People change while you're waiting. Opportunities lose their shape. Some doors don't close loudly. They just stop being doors. I remember thinking I had time. Not endless time, just enough. Enough to fix things later. Enough to explain myself when it mattered. Enough to live fully after I handled responsibilities first. That after never arrived the way I imagined. I spent years being understood just enough to get by, not enough to be known. There's a difference. Being known requires correction. It requires awkward moments. It requires saying, that's not what I meant, and risking that someone won't like the truth. I avoided that risk over and over. And here's the quiet truth. Misunderstanding isn't always caused by others. Sometimes it's something we maintain. I didn't correct people when they got me wrong. Not because I agreed, but because I didn't want the friction. So I lived inside a version of myself that fit easier into rooms. It wasn't fake, just incomplete. That incompleteness has a weight. You don't feel it at first. It shows up later, when there's less noise to distract you. At this age, memory doesn't come back as a timeline. It comes back as moments you wish you had handled differently. Not dramatically, just honestly. I don't wish I had been louder. I wish I had been clearer. Clear about what hurt me. Clear about what I needed. Clear about what I could no longer carry. Clarity is uncomfortable in the moment, but confusion lasts longer. That's the trait I didn't understand. I thought silence kept the peace. Sometimes it just delayed the loss. There's more to this, especially about what remains, even after so much time has passed. Let me take another pause before I continue. At 90, what stays with you isn't the big moments. It's the small ones that never fully happened, the almost conversations, the words you swallowed because the timing didn't feel right, the truth you softened so much it disappeared. You learn that life isn't only shaped by action, it's shaped by hesitation. Some people drifted out of my life without any argument at all. No fight, no ending. Just distance growing quietly, like it was no one's fault. But distance usually starts somewhere. I don't blame my younger self. I understand him now. He was trying to keep things together. He just didn't realize what he was letting slip. What I know now is simple and a little sad. Time doesn't punish you for waiting. It just keeps the receipt. You pay later in questions that no longer have anyone to answer them. Still, not everything is lost. There's a strange tenderness that comes with finally seeing things clearly, even if it's late, even if it's only for yourself. I sit here now, often in the evening, when the house is still, and I think about how much lighter life might have been if I had trusted clarity sooner than comfort. Not perfect clarity, just honest clarity. If there's one thing I'd leave behind, it's this feeling. Don't rush your life, but don't disappear inside it either. Say the thing while there's still someone there to hear it. Not dramatically, not bravely, just plainly. That's all. If this brought up something for you, you don't have to do anything with it right now. You can just sit with it, or if you want, leave a quiet thought below and stay with the story a little longer.